Now, getting into my defend my squad, my centers around the New York Knicks. I'm going to defend head coach Jeff Hornacek. Before I get into defending Jeff Hornacek, I want to take this moment to separate myself from New York fans. I am no longer going to call myself a New York Knicks fan anymore because I don't want to ever associate myself with those guys anymore. This impatience, this it has to work right now. It has to look good right now. Is the reason that the Knicks have struggled since Patrick Ewing. Is the reason with Patrick Ewing the Knicks never made nothing. We drafted Mark Jackson. Oh, let's get a veteran point guard that's better to help Patrick Ewing now. You trade for Derek Harper. Not saying Derek Harper is a good player, but if you let Mark Jackson grow up, we saw how great Mark Jackson became. It's foolish to trade him before he grew up to get a player that's more ready now to help Patrick Ewing. Mark Jackson could have been the one all-star guard that played with Patrick Ewing. You also drafted around that same time Rod Strickland. He was backing up Mark Jackson at one time. You traded both of them for veteran point guards. How did that work out? Impatience. You have no patience in New York. So let me continue to get into my defend my squad. I'm going to be defending Jeff Hornacek because I've seen from too many Knicks fans now, whether on Twitter, on the podcast.
But you said they have no patience. Is it mainly because I think Knicks fans they more look at it as a whole they haven't won nothing. They don't even look at it just
which is absolutely foolish.
Per coach.
You cannot look at the last 15 years and say we waited long enough. Get them out of here. Get somebody in here that works. That continues the cycle. That is the same reason the Knicks are where they are now. Every 2-3 years, when somebody's trying to build something, oh, this isn't working out, cut it down. Knicks have drafted well. The Knicks have had a draft pick on one of the two all-star rookie all teams since, I believe, 1999. The Knicks have had somebody on either one of those teams every year. No one of those players have made past their rookie deal with the Knicks. We can name them all for Trevor Ariza was a Knick that was drafted, made it to one of those. Wilson Chandler, David Lee. These are all members. Channing Frye also made it. Mon Shumpert made it to that. Jeremy Lin made it on that list. I'm trying to think of all the rookies the Knicks have had. Galloway a couple years ago made it to that all-rookie list. Winnie Hernangomez made it a couple years ago. Porzingis. We've had every year, but then they get traded. Wilson Chandler traded. Nila Gallinari made that list. All-rookie team. Got traded. Drafting has never been our problem. The problem has always been we don't know how to wait for players. Amon Shumpert. Trade him off. Get somebody that makes sense now. Tim Hardaway Jr. drafted him. Makes the all-rookie team. Trade him. He's not ready yet. Bring somebody in that can work right now.
David Lee.
All of these players I'm mentioning. Because this is the problem. And the problem stands not even the draft. Coaches. Let's run through some coaches. You remember Larry Brown? Larry Brown's one of the most winning coaches in history. Had 1 year with the Knicks. Struggled under Steve Francis and Marbury. Fire him the next year. You're going to fire Larry Brown. He's known for turnarounds. His second year rate is greater than any other coach ever.
Hey, man, he brought the Sixers to the
finals. He won a championship with Detroit. And yet somehow we're going to say
he was the Sixers.
We gave him 1 year.
Iverson. Yeah. Only.
I mean, they act like they didn't have talent on that team. That's ridiculous.
Some rotational players.
Eric Snow was actually a top 15 pick. He backed up Gary Payton until he got a chance. He was not a bum.
Rotational
Matt Geiger, they make it seem like because he plays, they didn't score. They were all elite defensive players. And Iverson was the only scorer.
He was the only real scorer, but I'm just saying, compared to that team to a team now, it's like you're not making the finals.
Oh yeah, they still good.
No, I don't see it. I don't see it.
Because again, they would be an elite defensive team right now. They would be the same as the Boston Celtics now, where you have a star scorer, Kyrie Irving, and a bunch of other players that can play defense. Because Horford ain't no scorer. Tatum, sure. But Tatum is no different than Aaron McKee. Aaron McKee can score. That's all he was really
in a sense, what I know Hayward, but still at the same time, I don't think they're a champ. They go that far.
They can still get to the final again. The Sixers even then were not supposed to get to the finals. They weren't supposed to beat the Bucks.
I think Ray
Allen. That was a cheating situation.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think that team itself. I think it's coaching.
They would still be the same.
But I think coaching gets you to that level of where you surpass that. But as far as looking at that team, I don't think they're the same.
The reason it will be because again they were elite defensive, and then Iverson could still score on anybody. So if we could hold you to 80, Iverson could give you 50. Somebody else is going to get you the rest of that 40 to win that game, and that's what made them good enough to get to the Lakers. But they couldn't beat the Lakers. They couldn't even beat the Kings. But in the East, The East didn't have nobody to beat them because the East didn't have nobody that could defend like that and stop Iverson.
And they have no one real
Whereas
dominant.
the Lakers could have lost to that same team, but they had two supreme scorers that they couldn't stop. Like even if you stop Shaq, which they couldn't, Kobe would have got his. They shut down Kobe. Kobe had a horrible finals,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but Shaq dominated.
in this day and age, I don't think the Phillies.
And then right now, there is no center that could do that to them. So any team would have had a problem. Like if that Sixers team went against LeBron's Cleveland might lose because they would shut down Kevin Love. They would shut down anybody else but LeBron, and they couldn't stop Iverson. LeBron couldn't stop Iverson.
This Cleveland team, yeah, probably.
So like even like the Warriors would have a problem with that team because defensively again they would stop a lot of what the Warriors do.
But I think
the Warriors would struggle. Like Steph would have a problem stopping Iverson.
But Warriors defense will really put it. I don't think Steph will be guarding Iverson.
That's a problem. Anybody put on Iverson, we're gonna have severe problems.
Yes, they would.
With Sean Livingston,
but
like
in the 7-game series,
they should win. They should win because of Kevin Durant. They have a second scorer.
Yeah.
They have a second. If they take away Kevin Durant, you have that 70 win team.
That's what I'm saying.
They only had one good scorer.
The only way that team, that's what I said, that team does not work in the situation now. Every team almost now has 2-3 second.
Only the dominant niggas, which is again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not
the Warriors.
As far as 76ers, I think 76ers now will be 76ers. 76ers then will look like probably the same position as 76ers now.
They would be boss.
Wait, where are we in? Fifth or sixth?
Sixers like 7.
Oh, so then sorry. I think they'll
be like Boston. It would still be the best in the league because it would be the best defense. It would probably be the best defense.
I see him maybe no higher than third.
Yeah,
but fifth.
I don't think they're dropping more than third because again,
third or fifth.
You're the best defense in the East. Matter of fact, at that time they were the best defense in the league. And then you have the best scorer in the league.
Uh-huh.
And that's why Boston right now, that's what they have. They have the best scoring point guard in the East, and they have the best defense in the East. That's what makes them the best record in the East. Because other than that, Boston is not that good. But then they have a bunch of young players.
You go into the playoffs, it doesn't fit all the straight through. That's what I just think.
But then in the playoffs, again, it comes down to Iverson. You can't stop him. And the defense translates. The best defense is who makes it to the finals. Mm-hmm. The Spurs, during that era, were the best defense. It wasn't that they were scoring that much.
Mm-hmm.
Who else would, matter of fact, Miami.
If you stop that one person, one Gucci coach.
You could try to.
One Gucci. Hey, man.
He's a leader in the score. He leads the league. You're not going to stop him.
You're going to score your 30, but no one else ain't scoring nothing.
You can try that with them.
You better would.
This is a team that can hold you to 60 points. Like, Iverson could get you 65. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they won games.
Yeah. Some nights.
But like, back to the defensive squad and the whole fire Jeff Hornacek situation. So I hear an enormous amount of fans. I don't want to out nobody, but I like to watch some of these Knicks talk podcasts. Y'all do a great job of talking about the Knicks, and the fans love to talk about the Knicks. But let's keep it 100. Firing Jeff Hornacek would mean what? And the complaints are the same. Why isn't Ntilikina playing more minutes? Why is Jared Jack getting so much minutes? He's not young. He's not part of the rebuild. Why are they not giving young players more time? Why is Jeff putting these weird lineups out there? Now, here's again. It's the same nonsense we have with Phil Jackson. You're judging Phil Jackson on drafting Porzingis when Phil Jackson has more knowledge about basketball than any one of y'all. Now, was Porzingis wrong? Was Porzingis a bad pick? All of y'all, and I heard it with the news, the media, the fans. Porzingis is going to be nothing more than a bust. He's not Nowitzki. He'll be Darko Milicic. This is very much so in New York. All through till we finally saw Porzingis play that first year, and it's like, oh my God, Phil might have one. Then it's like, oh no, that was Clarence Gaine that convinced Phil to take that. Clarence Gaine is the lead scout. His job is to scout and report back to Phil, and Phil has to make a decision on who the Knicks will pick. Phil picked Porzingis. All Gaines did was give him a report on who he felt was great. Phil still had to make the pick. Phil decided to go with Porzingis over Moutier, over Stanley Johnson, over Frank Kaminsky, over Hazonia, these other players that were available. Justice Winslow was a player that your guy Stephen A. Smith screamed and lauded that the Knicks should have got Justice Winslow. A lot of us thought that Justice Winslow would have been a good pick there. Justice Winslow has not even come close to Porzingis' career. And now we're still going to say we know more than these players? Or we know more than these guys that are good at this? Like, Phil picked Hornacek for a reason. Now let me start to talk about Jeff Hornacek. Before we even get to Jeff Hornacek, I'm going to just mention 3 quick names. Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni was ran out of New York when, again, New York fans said, Mike D'Antoni is not the right coach for Carmelo Anthony. Mike D'Antoni will not maximize Carmelo Anthony. That's very real. Like, You trying to tell me that Mike D'Antoni couldn't have made Carmelo a better player? Or couldn't have made the offense work where Carmelo would have still been great? Mike D'Antoni's the reason why Golden State plays the way they do. They forget he was an assistant coach the last year that Mark Jackson was there. And they started to play a lot more freely. Not to mention Mark D'Antoni is known for changing the way basketball is played right now. And he has the best record in the NBA. Just won Coach of the Year. How about those things?
He was one that did it with the
Phoenix Suns.
Steve Nash.
Amari Stoudemire again. But now with the Knicks, he's not going to maximize Carmelo Anthony. He's been losing here. He's been trying to work with Chris Duhon. Yeah, Chris Duhon leading the league in assists at one point that year. How crazy is that? That's the point guard whisperer. But somehow, Knicks fans knew that he will not get the most out of Carmelo Anthony. We must replace him. Okay, replace him with Mike Woodson. Play more defense, right? It's New York. It's a New York place that need to play more defense. Mike Woodson gets Carmelo to actually play defense. The Knicks win the division. Win over 50 games. Carmelo's MVP candidate. You fire the GM, Cornwall, because he makes a trade for Bargnani. Because the Knicks needed more scoring with Carmelo. They were playing good defense. Needed more scoring. Tyson Chandler to score points. So you bring in Bargnani. Bargnani gets hurt. He's been hurt. That's not why it didn't work with the Knicks. It didn't work because he didn't play no games. Not because he couldn't play with them. Like when he's on the floor, he spread the floor well for Carmelo and Tyson Chandler. Didn't play much because he got hurt all the damn time. You fire that GM, Aaron Glenwell, who didn't sign Jeremy Lin, made the trade for Bargnani, which he got fleeced for a first-round pick. Shouldn't have gave it that much. But you was trying to bring in somebody because the fans said...
There got to be a couple of more.
The fans was clobbering along. Like, if you don't go out and make a move to bring Carmelo a second scorer, the Knicks aren't doing it. Again, the fans. GM makes the move. The fans at first love the move. Bargnani's definitely going to be a scorer we need. Doesn't work out. All of a sudden, we just turn quick. What a horrible move. He got fleeced. Fire him. Fire the GM. Fire Glenwell. You bring in Phil Jackson. Former Knick. Was with the Knicks when they won the championships. One of the greatest coaches to ever do it. Has Kobe, Michael Jordan, Shaq, Pippen. He knows basketball. All he does is win rings. This will be the new president. We're going to let him. We're going to finally step back and let him do his thing. Not complain. Not be impatient. Just let him do his thing. First thing he says is like, the media is the first problem in New York. Us as the Knicks and the media have to have a better relationship. I want to be transparent with y'all. I want y'all to be more positive about the team. First interview. From there, the media quickly starts saying, oh, Phil did this wrong. Phil's been idiot here. Phil is making this. Y'all making all these rumors about Phil doing this, that, and the third when Phil keeps coming out and saying what he's trying to do. So where these rumors come, it came out and said, we're looking to see if we can find a better place for Carmelo. We're not sure if Carmelo will work with us. We're in a rebuilding phase. Carmelo's the stage where he might want to pursue champ. He said that openly, but yet somehow he's bashing Carmelo. What? Then the fans come out. How is he bashing our star? This is the president. Get him out of here. We fire a man that has won 13 championships. All his drafts now look like geniuses. All of his drafts look like geniuses now to us. And it's like, oh, wow. You might have been right. Look at the people he signed. Kylo Quinn. Courtney Lee. Oh, he can't bring free agents in? All these are great deals. But that was Phil. Not to mention Phil's who mentored the president now. The GM of the Knicks during Phil's time was Steve Mills. But for some reason, the media kept saying general manager Phil Jackson is the worst executive ever. He wasn't the general manager. Let me continue on. I'm moving too much into that. Larry Brown, like I said earlier, 1 year, done. Fans said he didn't work out. Get him out of here. Isaiah Thomas, he's been known to be one of the best drafting executives ever. Not to be one of the best point guards to ever live. Again, somehow he's wrong. Look at the players he brought in. Jamal Crawford, Stephon Marbury, Zach Randolph, Channing Frye, David Lee, Nate Robinson. These are all Isaiah brought these players in. He drafted Wilson Chandler. But what? He didn't know what he was doing? You gave him 1 year, he struggled, fired him, move on. Donnie Walsh. Oh, he didn't want to wait for Carmelo. Carmelo could have went to the Nets. He didn't want to do it. Get him out of here. Like, what do we realize? We keep moving on. We don't let nothing build. With the Spurs, the reason the Spurs are great, because it's only been Pop. He's been able to build. And I heard a lot of people saying we need a coach like Brad Stevens. That's something I've seen on Twitter a couple times. I want to let people understand about Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens was a college coach that was that Danny Ainge took a chance on. His first year in the NBA, he went 25-57 with a team that almost made the playoffs the year before. So all y'all don't want to jump on this Brad Stevens bandwagon that, oh, the Knicks need a coach like Brad Stevens. Y'all obviously don't even know your history about how he was in the league. His second year, he went 40-42. Matter of fact, with his first year, he had players like Rondo and Avery Bradley on the team and won 25 games. They were projected to win, I believe, 38 games that year. They won 25 in his first year. Second year, they was projected to win 42 games. They won 40. And I want to say Stevens is a better coach than Hornacek. Hornacek's first year as a head coach, he took on a Phoenix Suns team that was predicted by Bleacher Report, predicted to go 19-63. The best prediction for this team had them winning 28 games. They went 48-34 and missed the playoffs by half a game in the West. Jeff Hornacek's first year as a head coach. And you want to compare him to Brad Stevens that had a Rondo, had a team that was almost in the playoffs the year before? Don't give me that nonsense. And don't give me that Brad Stevens is a better head coach than Jeff Hornacek. They don't have nearly the same clout and ability. I'll even go a little bit further with it. With what's his name here? Jeff Hornacek. I can go a little further into his history. I got some more stats here. But this whole impatient New York fan, so I'm no longer calling myself a New York fan. I call myself a New York supporter. Because that's what I am. New York fans are idiots. And I hear this saying that New York fans have the smartest fans. They know when to boom. No, they don't. They recognize effort. You hear the fans cheer for effort. That they can recognize. They can really recognize when a player is really putting their all out there. That the Garden will give love back to. But to say the Knicks have smart fans and New York are smart fans, no, they're not. No, they're not. Because most New Yorkers are immigrants. New Yorkers technically are not from New York. If you're not from New York, you wouldn't know that. Born and raised in Queens. I can tell you in Manhattan, most of them are not from Manhattan. Most people are not born and raised in Manhattan. That's not the way it works. Most Manhattan people have came there, made themselves rich, and now afford that. They're immigrants. That's an immigrant part of New York City. The boroughs is where the natural New Yorkers is from. And in Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, they're not screaming out, oh, we need to move this person. No. But the ignorance continues.
Even Manhattan, you got to go uptown.
Like even Mike Woodson did so well. You bring in a new president wants a new coach, you move him up. The same thing is happening with the Jets. If you keep moving on, you never build nothing. With the Giants don't even fire coaches in season. That's how much they want to build what they have. I'm going to sign you for 5 years. We're going to let you get all the time.
I think that's the most disrespectful thing is to fire somebody mid-season. They have to really do something incredibly wrong for me to be like, okay, you got to be fired in the middle of the season. But the way it sounds like it, Knicks sound more closely to the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
Just
like the Browns.
You just can't keep a coach. Like every 2-3 years,
and the Browns are doing
real production.
Because they just want to keep moving on. The owner loses patience and fight with the Knicks. It's the Knicks fans that force the owner because James Dolan is a business guru. That's the reason that the Knicks have continued to go up. Value, they sell more tickets, they make more money. James Dolan is a very smart.
But what is he scared? The fans are not going to show up if he keeps the people.
But no, I just think he's a good businessman. A good businessman responds to his customer base. That's what all business is about. I listen to my customers and I supply for my customers. That makes me a good businessman. That's exactly what James Dolan is. Whenever the fans say we need to move, because that's not his goal.
That's what I'm saying. He'll never.
His goal is never.
He never want to be a champion. It's just I want to continue this profit.
I want to make the Knicks the most profitable organization and company that I can, and he's been doing that. So finally now he's saying, you know what, I'm gonna let basketball people do basketball things. I can see that we're gonna make money regardless. So he did that with Phil Jackson. The fans don't like Stephen A. Smith coming out saying that it's time for us to riot to get Phil out of here. He wants to trade Porzingis. We've had enough. It's time for us to riot. And now, of course, James Dolan, they screaming at him. It's for him to keep the shine off for him and keep his money coming up. I got to make that move. If Stephen A. on TV every day is making that narrative, it's only a matter of time for New Yorkers carry it on, and they already were.
You know, it'd be funny though if Porzingis doesn't come back healthy. Damn, should have traded him.
And then Laurie Markkinen, who Phil wanted. Look, the trade that I heard Phil was doing was a first-round pick next year, first-round pick this year.
That he was going to give?
Yeah, because the Bulls had 2 picks. After the Butler trade, the Bulls had 2 first-round picks. So they will give up the pick that they had for Markkinen, the second first-round pick that they had that year, and another first-round pick for Porzingis. Now, on the face, you still not sure Marketing will ever be
That's
Porzingis.
3 first-round picks.
But now you're getting Marketing and 2 more first-round picks for Porzingis. And if he even comes up to say he's 80% off Porzingis, look at how crazy you win. That's a supreme win. But again, Phil Jackson again.
You know, I love it because Marketing had an amazing game against the Knicks.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, again, everything Phil has said. But back to the point, Phil couldn't have got that successful if he didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't have made Jordan listen to him. He couldn't have had Shaq listen to him and Kobe listen to him to the point where Kobe begged for him to come back so Kobe could win them last 2 championships. And Phil didn't know what he was doing. So now we say, well, he's only been a coach. He doesn't know talent. Well, how does he put the talent in the right places if he doesn't understand talent? That doesn't make any sense. And again, New Yorkers are ignorant to that. These New York Knicks fans are ignorant to that. I might be the first to call them on their face. Stephen A. Smith, as a New York fan, is the greatest example of how ignorant these New York Knicks fans. So when he said that we made the wrong choice, taking Frank Ntilikina over Dennis Smith, really?
You know, I always look at that.
Really? We already calling them out and they ain't even play a game yet?
What's the stats? I don't think you might know better.
Yeah.
As far as Derek Fisher, he was not the best at shooting, right? More of just a point guard.
Was a good shooter.
I mean, as far as points per game.
Pointing up, never was.
Okay, but he was more of a lead the offense, make offense. Was he good on defense?
Yes, he was. He was a lead defender.
Steve Kerr, was he good on defense?
No.
No, but he was a good passer and shooter.
No, he was a supreme shooter. Actually, Kerr was a great scorer.
Huh?
He came out of college like a 20-point scorer.
I'm saying, was he a good passer too, right?
He could pass.
Well, he could pass. He's
a lot like Steph Curry. He
that's
could pass, but he's really a scorer.
Oh, yeah, bet.
They're a lot like each other.
Okay, that's how
Curry's just way greater. But Kerr was that
shooting
player.
is just a whole different.
Kerr was the exact kind of player. Same kind of player. So to this old Jeff Hornacek. So now I'm gonna give you a couple stats of Jeff Hornacek coaching. His first year with Phoenix, he went 48-34. They were 7th in points per game, 8th in offensive rating, 15th in defensive rating. The leading scorer was Gordon Dragic. He averaged 20 a game. Bledsoe averaged 17 a game. Third was Gerald Green, averaging 15 a game. Their best 5-man lineup featured Bledsoe, Dragic, P.J. Tucker, Channing Frye, and Madison Plumlee. That went plus 12.4 for the year, over 100 possessions. That was the best 5-man lineup. Doesn't that sound a lot like Emmanuel Mudiay, Frank Ntilikina, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kristaps Porzingis, Enes Kanter? Doesn't that almost sound like the exact same lineup? Really? But look, for some reason, Knicks fans say Hornacek is the wrong guy for this. He's making mistakes. Okay. I'll even move forward. Hornacek's second year with the Suns. They went 39-43, but what they failed to realize, trades were made mid-season that gave away a lot of the talent that he had. They traded away Dragic this year, mid-season. But the 5-man combination that did the best for him that year, which was plus 6.2 over the year, was Bledsoe, Dragic, P.J. Tucker, Marquise Morris, and center Alex Len, who was actually a teenager at the time. On February 19th of that year, they traded Dragic to the Miami Heat and also traded Isaiah Thomas to the Boston Celtics. At the time of that trade, they were 29-25. So, in 1.5 years, with 3 point guard lineups that looked like they weren't supposed to work, and was always projected not to even be a playoff team, he made them over 500 and almost made a playoff spot the year before. Sure. Now, the lineup that most people don't even realize that the lineup that I say can possibly work with Trey Burke, Emmanuel Mudiay, and Frank Ntilikina, the reason I say it works, the person I compared Trey Burke to most, and the reason I thought that he would work well under Hornacek is Isaiah Thomas had the beginning of his best time under Hornacek, that first half of the year under Hornacek. And that lineup of Dragic, Bledsoe, Isaiah Thomas, Marquise Morris, and Alex Len was a plus 44.8 in only 32 minutes played together that season. Just to show you how well they played together with a small point guard in Isaiah Thomas, Eric Bledsoe, another point guard, Goran Dragic, another point guard, Morris, who is really just a wing scorer, and Alex Len just being your only big man, plus 44.8. If that's not putting the team in the right position, if that's not, and again, Trey Burke to me equates a lot to Isaiah Thomas, a great scorer, floor general that can score very well. Now you add Emmanuel Mudiay has been compared a lot to Bledsoe, for the majority of his career, a slashing, pushing, can get to the basket, but can also pass. Aggressive type. Whereas Dragic, he's a mid-range player. He's also known for pushing the ball. You can't tell me that Frank Ntilikina, Emmanuel Mudiay now don't make sense for having Hornacek be the player to actually develop them. The same way he's the one that first developed Bledsoe and Dragic. Their best years are under him. Dragic has went on and been an all-star with the Heat. Numbers-wise, his best season was still with Phoenix and Jeff Hornacek. Bledsoe has went on. I even have the numbers somewhere. Under Hornacek, he's, I believe, 18 points per game. The rest of his career, he's averaged 13. So his best years, 3 years, were under Jeff Hornacek. And if Mudiay don't seem to make sense in that same mold, I don't know who the hell is. So for these Knicks fans that want to just talk, why isn't he playing this guy? Why? I'd rather him. They're giving Tim Hardaway all these minutes. If he keeps missing, take him out the game. And put who in? Lance Thomas? Like, when y'all start talking, what are y'all talking against? And it's the same nonsense I heard when y'all said, we need to fire Phil. And then bring in who? Who's the president that's going to replace somebody that won 13 championships in the league? Who's going to replace Donnie Walsh that created the Indiana team that had Reggie Miller and Mark Jackson? That knew what he was doing? Who? When y'all start talking, like, I hear we got to bring in Mark Jackson to do this. Really?
Yo,
the same guy that been out of basketball for 2 years? You going to bring him back and just replace Jeff? Come on. When he never even had the success that Hornacek has already had. Then, I even taken another notion. When I speak to Jeff Hornacek has played with some of the best point guards ever. And he was a combo guard. Wouldn't he make the most sense for Frank Ntilikina and Emmanuel Mudiay? He was a combo guard. Probably the reason that it worked for Bledsoe and Dragic under Hornacek. Well, how about this? Jeff Hornacek was a combo guard in Phoenix under Cotton Fitzsimmons, who ran the first hybrid triangle offense. They scored 118 points a game, with Hornacek being the second leading scorer.
You know, funny, because that almost sounds like the Utah team when it was Stockton, Hornacek, and Russell.
Karl Malone.
Byron Russell. I'm talking about Russell as a 3.
Yeah, Byron Russell was
because he's almost like a 3-2.
Yes. Byron Russell was a lot like Tim Hardaway Jr.
He's like a 2-guard,
6'6", 6'7", and really was a shooter.
He's a shooting guard that he can play defense.
And now again, he played with Kevin Johnson, great point guard. They play in the same backcourt. Hornacek was drafted as a point guard, shooting guard. He was an all-star. He scored over 20 points and 6 assists. He played in backcourts with point guards. Wouldn't he be the... And then again, his success with those Suns, Isaiah Thomas, Ish Smith, Goran Dragic, Eric Bledsoe. He is the perfect person to develop Frank Ntilikina and Emmanuel Mudiay. He is the person. What they're not realizing here, Scott Perry has put this team to match all of Jeff Hornacek's strengths. The team that he had the most success with, Scott Perry's brought all those players in. Myson Plumlee had his best years under Hornacek with the Suns. Enes Kanter plays a lot like that, a bruiser inside. Channing Frye became a three-point shooter under Hornacek with the Suns. Porzingis is a shooting 4 that can block shots.
But all right, Pete, this is his second season.
Who?
Hornacek.
Yes.
So
first season was under Phil, Carmelo, Derrick Rose, veteran team trying to go to the playoffs. You trade all that off,
and then they finished what? They finished
32 wins.
32 wins.
32 and 50.
Okay. And now what are they, like 26?
They're 23 and I believe 34 now. But they also have lost now, I believe, 8 in a row.
Yeah, it was bad streak.
Which has a lot to do with Porzingis guy. That's your best player.
That's true, but you also got a lot of rotational play. But at the same time, that is a brand new team.
Brand new team. First year with this team, and it's came to brand new. Carmelo was a face last year. You're completely changing over now, going rebuilding. It's a rebuild. Now, they were predicted to win 32 games this year with Carmelo. Carmelo's not here. The Knicks are still on pace to win over 30 games. And you're telling me Jeff Hornacek is not a good coach? The Knicks have not got blown out this year. Somehow you're going to tell me that the coaching has been bad? Yo, I got more stats though.
Well, the reason why I would say the coaching is suspect to me is always when you lose close games, I always blame the coaches.
To me, they're losing close games because they're not supposed to even be close. Like, look at the roster, look at the team, and look at the expectations. They should lose by 10 every game. You have a 19-year-old rookie that can't score. He just plays defense. You have a 34-year-old point guard that starts, that's coming off of a major knee injury.
He's amazing at free throws.
Who?
Jared Jack.
Yes.
He's
Now,
always at the free
you
throw
look at
line.
the entire team. This Knicks team should be getting blown out every night the same way the Atlantic Hawks is. Their talent is comparable to the Hawks. The projections is comparable to the Hawks. But yet the Hawks ain't even close to how the Knicks are playing. Stats, wins, none of that. But yet somehow I heard they say Budenholzer is a great coach. The Knicks might need someone like that. That came under Popovich.
He got like 19 wins right now.
Exactly. But yet Hornacek has 23. We've seen Porzingis now become a superstar under his development. How about that shit? We've seen Tim Hardaway now with. Not to mention, I heard somebody say on Twitter, I hope Doug McDermott now under Carlisle, you can see him actually show his potential under a better coach. Yeah, I wanted to actually reach across the screen and choke this man out. This is the first coach that I've actually heard they say Doug McDermott played solid defense under Hornacek. It's the first year. His defensive rating is the highest it's ever been in his career. He's always been a scorer. He's always been able to shoot. Under Hornacek, he's had his best overall year. But yet, under Carlisle, maybe we'll see Doug McDermott actually see his potential. Like, I wanted to actually reach across and smack the Knicks fan because you don't know what you're talking about.
I don't like Carlisle, but that's interesting to see because that's a whole solid team. I think only ones coming in that's part of the starting lineup is Lee and O'Quinn.
Yeah.
That's still playing besides Porzingis, who's not playing right now, but. From last year, it's pretty much Lee or Quinn. Well, New York fans don't New
York fanatics.
No, I can't say that. Knicks fans are very impatient.
It's New York, and it's like no. And I hear people say we've been waiting for too long. Like you've never.
I don't think they do that with Brooklyn like that.
Well, because Brooklyn don't have the same expectations.
So that's what I'm saying. So I say it's mainly Knicks fans.
Yes.
Well, then again, you can say Knicks. Then you can say Mets.
Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, you're right. Yeah, New York fans.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
because you're gonna compare it to the Yankees, where it's like, oh, they want.
I heard somebody. I got into an argument with it after the Moutier trade, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So to the Hornacek though, I can't possibly see that. I just wanted to give some last stats here. I just want to give some stats of where the Knicks are this year, and
well, I just know I knew the Knicks wasn't making no playoffs. Until they're like 2 years out. They still need a new coach.
Now, if Knicks do decide to like replace Hornacek, you know what I mean?
I don't know, but I just think you should give a guy at least. I have a minimum. I don't care what sport it is. You need 3 to 4 years.
I personally do feel 3 years is the number. I agree with you on that, and I feel like they do want to replace him.
The reason why it's 3 or 4 is like that first 2.
Yeah,
it's a real evaluation. See how you progress, how things change, and like in a situation like this, I call it like a kind of topsy-turvy because it's like it's a whole different team.
Facts.
It's like we just rehired you again.
Facts. And so I feel like he should be given a second year for this.
After this, going into the next year, we can look at it and then really evaluate all 3 seasons.
And then we haven't even seen the whole year to be questioning his rotations. And then we don't see the practice. We don't even know what's going on. And then I've heard like there's times where Frank Ntilikina has a sore knee, and that's the reason why Hornacek didn't give him that many minutes. But you're not going to come after the game and then say it because then you have a game tomorrow. You don't want them knowing that your rookie is struggling with a knee injury.
But I don't know if they realized, wasn't he have injury problems in the beginning of the season?
Yes, he was.
He didn't play the summer camp for that
same reason.
For that reason.
And they said they want to take their time with him. They're waiting until after the All-Star break to extend his workload. He's the second youngest player in the NBA. And they're taking their time with him. Whereas before, again, the impatient New Yorkers, you throw somebody in the fire and you ruin their career. You happy that they're taking their time and really building like they did with Porzingis. Take your time, and now Porzingis is a superstar. But if they'd have thrown him in the fire from day one, traded Carmelo away like a lot of people saying, give him the keys, let him be the face from the day one and trade away Carmelo, then he would have never got the protection that Carmelo and the mentorship that Carmelo allowed Porzingis to develop. And the same Jack is doing right now for Ntilikina. Like Jack mentored Steph Curry. There was a lot of times in fourth quarter, Steph Curry was on the bench with Mark Jackson, where Mark would have Jack finish the game, Curry would be on the bench. It would be Monte Ellis and Jared Jack finishing the game, where even though Curry was going to be the future, but Jack was the guy at the time. But slowly they would have now Jack and Curry on the court in the fourth, and then finally Mark gave Curry green light to finish fourth quarters.
My thing is, it's an 82-game season, right? why not try the first half of the season with like your veteran or whatever case may be? If you have a young player
to establish the culture.
So now he has a way of visualizing, seeing like, okay, I see how he's like you start to notice little things like, okay, he's slowing up the ball a little bit towards the fourth quarter. He's picking up the pass or he's noticing a little bit different. Like, yo, it's a different type of breathing that
like,
you're.
Don't throw him to the walls like that. Like, but then again, he's 19. He's coming from another country, like another country. Like as a man, he has to like adjust to a whole other.
He's still home. He can still be homesick.
His mother ain't here with him. His mother's who saved him and did everything for him.
Just think, how many people left their country at 19 to start a whole new life?
By himself, living in Manhattan, by himself. Now with the job that we're now a whole bunch of people, these New Yorkers, these fickle New Yorkers, are saying, "Oh, he's a bust. Oh, he's a bust." And then you got to hear that as a 19-year-old, and you're trying to get better for them. You want these fans to be on your side. That's why I hear New York fans saying that. No, you're not. You don't support nobody. You do not support nobody. You do not. Stop it. That didn't support Amon Shumpert. Yeah, didn't support Phil Jackson when he was the president of the team. When he's won the most championships. He's the reason the Bulls came into New York and beat Patrick Ewing. But yeah, and then I'll throw another name. Jeff Van Gundy. Knicks coach. Knicks coach. Took over at 34, one of the youngest coach. His first 15 games coaching the Knicks, a team that was the best defensive team in the league. Third in the league at the time. He went 7-8. So all this talk to how, you got to let the Knicks fans be patient. And you haven't been. You never been. You wasn't patient with Patrick Ewing when he grew up. Because you should have never traded even Bernard King then. He got hurt. He had tore his ACL. Y'all drafted Patrick Ewing because you star player Bernard King tore his ACL. You got the first pick. Rather than you keep Bernard King and let him slowly come back and then join Patrick Ewing and develop what would have been a dynasty at the time, you trade away Bernard King because it's time for Patrick Ewing to take over New York. How did that help Patrick Ewing? He never played with another All-Star. Ever. Impatient New Yorkers. Let's do it again right now. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead. Let's trade away Frank Ntilikina and bring in Kyrie Irving. I'm glad Scott Perry said no on that. You don't draft players that high and never let them get the chance. Another player that I compare Emmanuel Mudiay to is Chauncey Billups. Third pick overall. First 5 years, never got a chance to play. Denver never gave him a chance. He finally gets signed by the Pistons. Scott Perry was the actual vice president of that time. Joe Dumars was the GM. It looked like Billups was a bust. 5 years in the league, was a bum. Averaged 11 points. Third pick overall. Now do we think of Billups as a bum? Needed the right situation, needed the right opportunity. And I hear a lot of people saying you got to play. Kobe Bryant didn't start till his third year in the league. Didn't average more than 26 minutes. Matter of fact, his first year he averaged 21 minutes. His second year he averaged 27 minutes. His third year he finally started. He was behind Eddie Jones for his first 2 years. So all the talk about you got to let him play, you got to let him play. Kobe didn't start till his third year. And we see what Kobe became. Kobe was 18 when he came in the league.
Well, you start looking around at other players. There's one star here. I think this is his third season as well. Victor Oladipo.
Yes. Oh, he's way more than 30. Way more.
What is he, fifth?
He's fifth year.
I'm saying
started with Orlando, didn't get much of a chance. His first, I believe, 2 years with Orlando. He got 1 year with OKC. I believe it's his fourth year.
Yeah, it's his fourth year. Yeah. So you get all into his fourth year now. He's like, oh man,
and he was
this nice.
And he was the second pick overall. He was compared to Michael Jordan in college.
But this I'm saying, like they say, like, oh wow, he's nice. I heard somebody speak the other day. Actually, we would laugh about the Porzingis. I remember this is early in the season. Heard guys talking like, hey, damn, who would have thought Porzingis was gonna be this nice? I guess you didn't watch him.
And then even in the draft process, during that year, they said Porzingis has the highest ceiling in the draft. But being from Europe, you'd rather go with a safer pick as in Jahlil Okafor or Karl Anthony Towns. That was said well before the draft even happened. So this ain't nothing new. Nothing new about it.
And we really look at it. Karl Anthony Towns looking good.
Oh, sure.
Jahlil Okafor is still trying to find his feet.
Again, never got the chance, though.
No, I'm saying he's still trying to, well, Nets, still trying to find his feet. Hopefully they keep him there for a while so he can stay there for more than a year to play more starting limits. But I don't know.
And my last point to Coach Hornacek. The Knicks, before they went into this slide, this was a couple weeks ago when it was in 10th place at 22-28. Their numbers for the year, they were 13th in offensive rating, 21st in defensive rating, 19th in pace. But they were also 7th in field goal percentage, 8th in 3-point percentage, 2nd in 2-point field goal percentage, 1st in 2-point field goal attempts. Now, where they struggled at, 21st in free throws. They were 5th in free throw percentage, 8th in offensive rebound, 10th in assists per game, 18th in points per game, 14th in effective field goal percentage. Defensively, they were 13th in field goals per game, 7th in field goal percentage, which shows that they actually play good defense. Because they're 7th in opponent's field goal percentage. They were actually 4th in blocks. That has a lot to do with Porzingis. Lead the league in blocks. They were 15th in three-point percentage, which is pretty good. That means they're better than half. But they struggle at 25th in opponent turnover. They don't turn nobody over. 27th in steals per game. They're not getting steals, not getting turnovers. That has a lot to do with Jared Jack does not have the hands or the feet anymore to force turnovers from the actual perimeter anymore. That has a lot to do with that. Well, I had a lot of people say Jared Jack shouldn't play. Jared Jack is mentoring Ntilikina. He's playing to show Ntilikina how you play. That takes time. I expect Ntilikina to probably start after the All-Star break. I've said that from the jump. I feel like him and Moutier will start after the All-Star break. And the other day, Jeff Hornacek said Moutier's minutes and Ntilikina's minutes will go way up after the All-Star break. Because after the All-Star break is when you can reset. That's when you can actually input what you want these kids to do. Up until then, it's happening fast. It's games every other day. They're traveling. Ntilikina's going to different places that he's never been in the world every other day. Now, the second time around, after the All-Star break, when he's been to Phoenix before, he's been here before, he's traveled before. That part is not new to him. Now you can start to input, this is what I want you to do in this game. I want you to look at this strategy. To start, you have to actually have a game plan in place. On the bench, you can actually allow them to actually watch and then, okay, I just want you to focus on this today. Because everything's new to him. He's 19 in America for the first time. You don't put all that on him. You almost force him to fail. Almost Kyrie struggled his first year as the first overall pick in Cleveland by himself. Struggled. It happens. You don't do that to 19-year-olds. And to Jeff Hornacek, I think he has a great handle on this. He was also in this position, and we've seen him already develop young point guards, and Dragic and Bledsoe. Let him do his thing. Scott Perry's putting these players in Hornacek's cupboard because he knows this is what Hornacek is good at. So lastly, to defend my squad, if the Knicks do fire Jeff Hornacek, it would just be the continuing of impatient New Yorkers. And I wouldn't be shocked if now it ruins Porzingis' development and he has a career a lot like Patrick Ewing in the end. Unlike a Tim Duncan who was allowed to develop, a David Robinson allowed to develop. That's how you build great teams. You don't just fire somebody. Even with Jason Kidd in the Bucks, they gave Jason Kidd 3 years to develop Antetokounmpo. He's developed now. Now you can fire Jason Kidd and bring in somebody else, almost with Mark Jackson and Steph Curry. He developed Steph Curry. They gave him the 3 years and a half to develop Steph Curry. Now that Steph Curry's developed, now you can fire Mark Jackson. Ntilikina is not developed. Moutier is not developed.
My thing is this.
Hardaway is not developed.
Who knows if he's going to be the future of the Knicks or not the future of the Knicks? He's only played 30 games. No, 40 games?
About 50.
About 50 games?
Yeah.
45, 50 games?
Yeah.
If that?
Yeah.
Because he didn't play every last one, so he played
at least 45.
Like 45 games? Already?
Yeah.
You want to get rid of the guy? Give him at least 2-3 years to see, like, oh, is he a bum or not?
And then I hate the stat watching, but look, Dennis Smith is averaging 15, like he's averaging more.
But he scored that well in college.
So what? Like we can look at a whole bunch of averages and it means nothing. Kobe Bryant's first year, he didn't average as much as who was also in that draft. Robert Trello was also in that draft. Did Robert Trello turn out to be, or Kerry Kittles, who was the first 2 guard drafted in Kobe Bryant's draft? Did Kerry Kittles, who had a better rookie year, who had a solid career, is Kerry Kittles Kobe Bryant? If the Lakers had traded up and got Kerry Kittles, would they have been in the same position that they waited on the 3 years for Kobe Bryant to finally be a starter? Even though Kerry Kittles was a starter from day one? It's the same nonsense. It's the same, like you could wait on Ntilikina and he might be better than, I'll give you an even better example. Oh man, I can't remember his name right now. Matter of fact, oh man, I can't remember his name right now. But really the point of it is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard versus somebody else when he got drafted. The Spurs decided they wanted Kawhi, and they waited on Kawhi to develop. They knew Kawhi was already elite defender, and he was elite rebounder.
And now look at Kawhi.
They waited on him to get his offense. They waited those 3 years for Kawhi to develop his offense. Now he's an elite two-way player. But the whole draft knew he was the best defensive player, and the whole draft knew that Ntilikina is the best perimeter defender. You just have to wait on his offense. But you probably going to get a Kawhi Leonard or a Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a freak. He has over 7-foot wingspan. Kawhi Leonard, over 7'3" wingspan. These things you can't teach. You can't teach those physical features. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 7 foot tall, but can dribble like and run like a guard. You cannot teach that. Giannis has over like a 7'8" wingspan. That is not taught. Once you just let him grow into the game, his athletics will take over.
Uh-huh.
Kevin Durant. This man has over 7'6" wingspan. You're not blocking his jump shot once you let him grow into his game. Same with Porzingis, 7'3". Once you let him grow, he's gonna be that nice. But you gotta let him grow.
But sure enough, it's mainly just the main focus is there's a lot of talented players that come out this draft. They've been known to draft a lot of good players.
Yeah.
Just they never stick with the Knicks, so I don't think you should be surprised if these players don't stay.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just saying. I'm just making my point now.
Like,
I'm of age to make my point.
I've
looked at it long enough to be like, I'm not going to be like the typical New York Knicks fan, which is Stephen A. Smith. He is the typical Knicks fan. When you just see it and you react. Like, okay, so the other game, we was up by 27 and we lost to the Wizards. Whole bunch of Knicks fans coming out. Jeff Hornacek, how do you lose a 27-point lead? The goal is not to win. Here's the thing, the goal is not to win. The same fans that got mad at Fisher when the Knicks won a few games and it's like he ruined the tank. We could have had Karl Anthony Towns. Why does Fisher have them winning games? The same fans are now saying, how did Hornacek lose that game? We were up by 27. He should have never lost that game. It's obvious Hornacek's a bad coach. Nobody loses those kind of leagues. What do you want, though? There's no reason for us to win. We need the higher draft pick, and if we did win, you start saying like, "Oh, we winning these games now. We're not gonna get a good draft pick." Hornacek doesn't even know what the hell he's doing. He's not losing games. He's not playing them. He needs to go. It's like, yo, y'all fickle. Y'all don't let these guys do what they should do. Hornacek is smarter than any one of y'all at basketball. He's already been great at basketball. He won 2 3-point contests back-to-back years and was an all-star. He was in the finals with John Stockton. He was on the top scoring offense of the 80s with Kevin Johnson. So as a player, he's way more accomplished than Steve Kerr, Brad Stevens, Carlisle, Popovich, any coach you want to name. And as a coach, his first year he was second in Coach of the Year. How many of them could say that? Not Stevens, not Kerr, none of them, not Popovich.
That is a big lead, though. 27 points.
Oh, it is. Most like we've came back. I get it, but if you're up by 27 with 3 minutes in the second quarter in a league now that sees
you said second quarter?
Yeah. There was
like a fourth quarter type of thing.
Not at all.
Warriors can make 27 points in like 28 seconds.
So like that whole using that as a benchmark to what? Like stop it. And all you Knicks fans that say we need to bring in a Mark Jackson. Did Mark Jackson win a championship?
Didn't the Cavs just lose a 14-point game in the lead in the fourth quarter and they're a championship team?
Not to mention, look at who he's bringing out there right now. Like, look who's playing. They do not have any established stars on that team. There's no Carmelo. There's no Kevin Durant. There's no Anthony Davis.
They're getting a lot of minutes out of these.
Kristaps Porzingis was your superstar. He's out for the year. Imagine if Giannis Antetokounmpo got hurt for the Bucks right now. How many games should they win?
He messed up his ankle. They were scared as shit. Not too long.
Matter of fact, I think he missed 3 games. They lost all 3. But yet, you want to say that Jeff Hornacek is if Jeff Hornacek gets fired, though, I do support Mark Jackson coming in and being from Queens and being a good coach and being a point guard that was a Knick. I support that.
I support hiring a fan.
Jason Kidd, because I feel like Jason Kidd would be a great coach for the Knicks in New York. You know how he understands it. And lastly, Fizdale, that was with Memphis. I think he's a bright guy. I think he can actually take the pressure. I think he'll be a good coach in New York. So if they do fire him, I've already looked beyond it because I had to go through this with Phil Jackson and Carmelo. I didn't think neither one of them should leave New York. Media pushed them both out. So I had to deal with that. If they want to trade Carmelo, I love him to go to Thunder. They did that.
That was kind of funny because I remember you really liked Phil. I was like, well, this is going to be work. Blah, blah. I think this year really just proved that, Knicks don't play that.
Facts,
you getting any type of losing streak, they're a dub.
Facts.
They're a dub for you. The whole team. All players, squad, they don't even care.
Facts. So, that would be me defending my squad on the fire Jeff Hornacek front. I honestly feel like, I'll end it on this saying, New York fans are not the smartest fans in the NBA. The smartest fans in the NBA are probably Golden State or San Antonio, to be very honest with you. The New York fan base is a lot of tourists that come to Madison Square Garden and want to actually embrace the Garden and want to actually see basketball played in the Garden. But all these Knicks fans have been continuously screaming for this guy to get fired. that guy to get fired. That guy's a bum. That guy should be traded. That never embraced Patrick Ewing. That barely embraced Stephon Marbury. Yeah, you embraced Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo
To an
Anthony never
extent.
to an extent.
To an extent.
But y'all, you know what I mean?
When he stopped becoming super relevant,
y'all faded on him too. So, and then it's coaches, y'all keep going. Like Mac D'Antoni didn't get it done. Like Brown didn't get it done. Isaiah Thomas didn't get it done. Mike Woodson didn't get it done. Lenny Wilkins didn't get it done. Jeff Van Gundy didn't get it done. How many niggas I got to keep going through? So y'all realize, like, giving somebody 5 years.
You make me want to go through a research and really check. I'm about to see.
I can keep going.
Who has the most coaches changes in the last 5 years?
5 years, it would have to be like somebody
Phoenix.
else, like
Phoenix.
They
probably.
keep firing people.
But then, if you look at them and then you look at, can it be Memphis?
It could be Memphis because they went through a lot. They had Lionel Hiles fired. Then they who played?
No, but I thought they had
fired, and then they had Fizdale just fired.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they had three in like
3 years.
I think it's been, but I think that last one, the first one, he was there for a while.
No, Lionel Hiles. He was there for like 5-6 years.
But that's what I'm saying.
They fired him. They brought in Yogurt, and Yogurt only lasted like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then they brought in Fizdale.
But I'm saying,
so the last 4 years, they went through some coaches.
Yeah, because I got like 3.
But on the last one, to me, is again, if they fired Jeff Hornacek, it'd be New York doing what New York does, like being impatient. And in my article, which I advise everybody to check out the article on 5 Reasons to Love the Emmanuel Mudiay trade. The point that I make on the back end, the Yankees became a dynasty because they were patient enough to wait on their young players, which is Bernie Williams, the call for, plus Bernie Williams. So Mariano Rivera, who struggled in his first 2 years, Derek Jeter, who struggled in his first 2 years, Jorge Posada struggled in his first year, Andy Pettitte struggled in his first year, Bernie Williams, who came up first, struggled in his first year. But when all of them grew up and they was all drafted and developed, they became a super team. Because the money that you have to spend on free agents, you can never make up. The only way you become a dynasty is if the players are drafted and developed by you. Look at the Spurs. Parker, they drafted. Duncan, they drafted. Leonard, they drafted. Ginobili, they drafted. They core, and that's why they was able to keep them cheaper. All of them was never paid max money. None of them. Now go to Golden State. Steph Curry was drafted. Klay Thompson was drafted. Draymond Green was drafted. And none of them was on max contracts until Curry just signed that deal recently.
Yeah, but
Clay is underpaid. Draymond is underpaid. Because they were drafted.
But that's what I'm saying. You get drafted, you get like a 4-year deal when you get minimum amount of dollars.
So the point I'm making now,
so
they got
by the time they
gotta be patient. The Knicks have not been patient. They wasn't patient with Channing Frye. They wasn't patient with David Lee. They wasn't patient with Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari.
I don't even think there's a player in the Knicks that's actually
Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was like the last one that you drafted and like seen his career play out with the Knicks. Like nobody else. You keep like Amon Shumpert, we almost saw him get a chance to be here and grow with us. Lottery pick. Tim Hardaway's the first one that we drafted. Is actually now back with us again. And he had to be traded away, and now we brought him back.
He got to get traded away to get trained from someone else, and then come back.
So, I mean, the problem with the Knicks, again, is patience. You have 3 young players. Like, do not f this up. You have Moody under his rookie contract, 7th pick in the draft. You have Ntilikina, 8th pick in the draft. You have Porzingis, 4th pick in the draft. You have 3 young kids all under control. Let them grow up together. New York, please. Let them be Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, and Andy Pettitte. Please.
At least 2 years together.
Please. Like, yes. They're off next year. And then after that, Porzingis and Moody got to get an extension. That will be the last year of their rookie deals. Next year. But
after next year or?
Next year. No, next year is the last year. Because it's 4 years. This is the 3rd year for all of them.
Oh.
So the 4th year is the last year of that original.
Oh, that's that player option now. Oh.
So next year is their last year, and after that they have the power to restrict them. So it's like any deal that they sign, they can max it.
They can max it.
So it's like, don't fuck this up, please, New York. And it's New York again. I like Scott Perry. He's taking the patient route. He was with Detroit. With him. And on another note, all the people that got mad with the Porzingis injury, embrace it. Stop being so angry. Like, stop it. If you see Golden State fans, they were always the best fans in the NBA. Even they sucked for 15 years. That crowd was great. Then finally they got Curry and they was able to wait through the Curry time. And now they got some. Curry struggled his first 5 years, but people do not understand. He had a lot of ankle injuries and he failed to develop.
He was still very undersized.
And even with the same Jared Jack, he was on the bench in 4th quarters when Mark Jackson first came there. And he would let Jared Jack finish games. Let's keep that in perspective. The same way that Jeff Hornacek right now.
Players available on a roster when fucking when Curry first got there.
So let's look at, please, New Yorkers, be patient with Jeff. He's the right coach. He's a better coach than Steve Kerr. Let him get, and he's more healthy than Steve Kerr. You gotta worry about his back. Like, he was a better player. He had a better start. So please give Jeff the chance. He is the right coach. He is the right coach. Give him his chance here. He can win championships here.
Even if he ain't,
give him 5 years, please. Mike Woodson could have won here. Like, he got fired. Shit, Don Chaney could have won here.
That's the one that got me was the Woodson, because he actually got him to the playoffs, winning
50 games,
and like
got the most out of it.
Like, honestly, like, they lost to the Cavs,
but that was because they fired Grunwald, and then Phil came in. Phil wanted his own shit. He wanted his own coach, and that was Derek Fisher. But actually, his first coach he wanted was Steve Kerr. They only didn't want to pay a non-head coach because Kerr never been a coach before. He wanted to pay him $5 million, which would have been a lot of money. So he was like, no. And he didn't like Steve Kerr because Steve Kerr was cool with Marv Albert, who caused the Knicks a huge lawsuit. That was another reason why Dolan didn't like Kerr. But that was who Phil wanted to bring in for Woodson, which would have made a lot of sense. We saw what Kerr became.
Different talent team.
Like Hornacek, I think he's just as good as Kerr. Let him get his time. So I'll end it there. I want to defend your squad. For New York fans, please be patient. And we might be lucky enough this year to actually get a first pick. It's a lottery. So even if you're ninth, lowest, you can win the lottery. You can actually, the balls might fall your way. Like when the Cavaliers drafted Andrew Wiggins and was able to trade him for Kevin Love, they had the 8th pick coming into that lottery. They won that. And they won and was able to pick Wiggins and then trade him for Love. So the Knicks might be slotted in for 7 or something like that. You could win the lottery. And if we win the lottery, now we have a choice of somebody like Aiken, who looks like he's a second coming of Olajuwon, or Bagley, who I really love, who looks like Kevin Garnett, who would match very well with Porzingis. And you would have a super talented player, like a Tim Duncan and David Robinson situation that you got lucky about. We didn't expect Porzingis to get hurt. And if he didn't get hurt, they would have kept trying to win games. And y'all would have got probably a 10th or a 9th pick because Porzingis would have been there. He's not there. You get a better pick. Be patient, Knicks fans. In 2020, in 2 or 3 years, when Moutier and Ntilikina and Porzingis are all mature, you can be looking at the Warriors. But it took time for Clay, Draymond, and Steph to grow up. If you were looking at them years ago in 2011 when they were all young, they probably sucked. They won, 38 games? They look the way the Knicks do now. Like, they would win some games.
It's not too long ago when the Warriors could not beat the Spurs.
Correct.
Now the Spurs don't know how to
handle the Warriors. But again, the Warrior fans were able to be patient, let Curry grow up, and then let him grow. And now they're the way they are. Like, even with the Wizards were trash a few years ago. Niggas forget, after the Gilbert Arenas problem, trash. They drafted John Wall. John Wall's first 2 years, they didn't make the playoffs. People forget. He severely struggled.
Yo, they ain't started getting good until about 3 years ago.
2 years ago. Let's be real. When Scott Brooks came in.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real.
Because even with Beal, they struggled. It still ain't changed.
And now it's like they're a very good team. Toronto, after Bosh left, people forget how garbage they were. DeRozan struggled his first few years. They signed Lowry in that first year. They didn't do that well. And then they let Lowry and DeRozan grow together.
If you even look worse into like a Philly team, they haven't been good since Iguodala.
No, they wasn't good then.
But I'm saying,
they were like
decent, but they were like.
And they had Lou Williams, Iguodala, Drew Holiday.
But I'm saying ever since
then, Turner.
Ever since he left, they've been a bottom feeder for like years.
Like how many first round picks they have not developed. Let's start off with Nerlens Noel, struggling to get minutes now with Dallas. That's never developed.
Another
was a top 4 pick. Then you drafted Jalil Okafor, not which never developed him. Then you draft Joel Embiid. His first 2 years he never played. Ben Simmons, first year, never played. Now might be the rookie year, second year. Markelle Fultz, first year, has not played yet. Now, if you want to look at the 6 years, they have completely shit up. And yet, I can say in 2 years, they might be a super team. Super team.
They already look.
With Fultz, Simmons, Embiid, Saric, they can be a super team.
Very underrated player, that guy, Saric.
And my man Covington. I'm glad he got the double deal.
Yeah, making that buckets. But Saric, I really like him. He was second and almost rookie of the year a couple years ago.
But he made him wait. He drafted him.
He went back 2 years and then came back. Came
And
back
then he
after.
finally got him to come over.
Man can ball.
Yeah.
But all he did was
patience. Like, even the original GM that was doing this, if he was still in there, I think they would be further along.
If you really think about it, just I did looking up.
Same head coach, though. I don't hear nobody complain about Brett Brown that did nothing but lose for all these years.
But I'm saying, right now, if you look at it, you look at certain players, right?
Yeah.
2 years in, this is 2 years in, you have a whole full team develop.
Mm-hmm.
Now y'all might look like a decent team. Who knows, whatever the case may be. But if you just keep the team what it is, add players, not taking away the development players, you add players for the next 2 years. Next 2 years, Kevin Durant, don't know where he is. LeBron James, not sure where he is.
Not to mention, OKC. If you even look at OKC, how good they've been since they left Seattle, these are all players they drafted. All of them. From Durant to Harden to Westbrook, Reggie Jackson, Ibaka, Nick Collison.
I'm just saying, it's just the next 2 years.
Steven Adams, they drafted him.
I'm saying the next 2 years,
they drafted him.
If it's just development for the next 2 years, a lot of these superstar teams are going to be broken up, switched off, retired.
When Cleveland and LeBron goes down.
When this opportunity is like, okay, now we can hit that rise. You could be right there with playing against
Milwaukee, Philadelphia, New York. Think about the young stars that are coming up now. They will be who will be in the playoffs and be competing for championship. So a couple years ago, you knew that Kyrie and Steph were eventually going to be in big games because they were the biggest talents in the league, James Harden included. These are top 5 picks that were big-time talents that you were seeing growing to that level. Now they're in the finals. Now they're winning championships. Now they're winning those accolades. Now, who's the next level? Will be those Porzingis, Karl Anthony Towns, Antetokounmpo, John Wall. These are the players that will now take that next when LeBron, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, the players from that last generation that were running things. Go back now. Aldridge, who are the superstars from this past era that started to come down off their name?
Oh, the Gasols. Who else?
Well, Ginobili, Parker, those types.
But pretty much is a new fresh.
Yeah. So I'm saying in 2 years, Porzingis will be that guy. Why not be patient, New York, and let Scott Perry and Steve Mills, let them actually get a chance to build a team without you jumping down their throat. Do this, do that. Oh, this guy's a bust. You got to fire this guy. Like, there's no reason for y'all to actually want to, like, there's no stat that says Jeff Hornacek has struggled this year. Based on stats alone, there's no reason to fire Jeff Hornacek. If you want to just go, and then the thing that they mentioned the most, I have them right here. Starting Jared Jack, the rotations, and not giving enough time to the young players is why the main reason that I've been hearing from Knicks fans saying that Jeff Hornacek needs to be fired. He's not developing the young players. He's not playing them enough. His rotations make no sense. And he keeps starting Jared Jack. Why is Jared Jack playing that much? I get it. Jackson's a 34-year-old guy that doesn't look that good, and he cannot guard any point guard in the league right now. I get that. But he's mentoring Frank Ntilikina. When you mentor somebody, same thing goes for. People forget that Kawhi Leonard wasn't starting from day one. He had to wait, I believe, a half a season before he started to get in the starting lineup.
No way he was getting
Popovich was developing it. And it wasn't like there was a
better
option.
There was not an elite talent above him. I don't even think Danny Green was there yet.
No, I don't think Danny Green was there yet. But it wasn't like an elite player.
But it was mainly Tony Parker and Ginobili I can think of. I can't even think of who was the third man right there.
Yeah. But long story short, and then back to the Kobe point. But matter of fact, I even think leave you one last point. Walt Clyde Frazier, who's probably the best point guard of Knicks history. He's known for the suits and like the fly talking on the commentator. Most of us known for dishing and swishing, inauspicious beginning. Like, a lot of us know,
a little razzle dazzle.
A lot of us know for the clever words with the Knicks game, like MSG. But he's also probably the best Knicks ever. When the last 2 championships, he was a starting point guard to that. He's known for being an elite defender. His rookie year, he only played 20 minutes a game. Let's just consider that. And he came into the league as a supreme talent. Scorer, can guard, all that. Only played 20 minutes his first season, was not starting his first season. So let's just put that in perspective to Frank Ntilikina that many years later. He's a defensive first player. Gary Payne is who I compare him to. They have identical numbers. Identical numbers. If you're gonna if Ntilikina projects to be a Gary Payne type of player, you have to be patient with him. He might be a defensive player of the year in some time. Same with Scottie Pippen, who became an elite defensive player. He didn't start his whole first season. Scottie Pippen. He was the 5th pick overall. Didn't start his whole first season. And it wasn't like Jordan was starting above him. It wasn't a star player starting above him. But understand, when you're 19, 20, the best development is usually waiting. And Knicks fans, do not seem to get that at all. Like, at all. We're super impatient. But look at the Yankees and Derek Jeter and that core four. It took them time to develop, and they became a dynasty. Look at Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan didn't need that because they already was a made team. They were elite Western Conference team under David Robinson, who was a top 5 player at one point. Top 10 player when Tim Duncan came in the league. That's why they just ran right off. You get the best prospect in 10 years in Tim Duncan, and you already have David Robinson, the top 10 player. That's like the whole Kevin Durant, Steph Curry thing. You already got a top 10 player in Steph Curry, and then you just add one of the best players in the world in Kevin Durant. You're not going to lose.
They almost look like that with the Pelicans.
Facts. DeMarcus and Davis.
Mm-hmm.
So, DeMarcus got hurt. But, I'm going to end it there. The point I'm just preaching is patience. And to you Knicks fans, look yourself in the mirror. Understand what a Knicks fan has meant for the last 20 years. And understand why we have won nothing over the last 20 years. Take accountability. Yeah. The booing and fire Isaiahs. The booing and the fire Larry Brown. The Mike D'Antoni can't maximize Carmelo's potential. Think about all these things that you said. The booing Porzingis when he got drafted. Remember the kid booing? Remember Stephen A. Smith saying they should have drafted Justin Winslow? Remember all that? I want y'all all to remember. I want y'all to think about everything that Stephen A. Smith says about the Knicks and think twice about it. Does it make sense? And that notion, I'm now a New York Knicks supporter. But that's what I call myself. That's my defend myself.
Good defending squad. Very passionate Knicks supporter here.
Thank you.
About the situations going on there. If one of your favorite teams that's looking very unfavorable.
Yes.
But I hope they can gain some patience with some of the player development and coach development. And just let it play out. I think that'd be dope. See where it goes, Try something new.
I mean,
allow players to play at least a contract.
Correct. And here's the weird thing about it for me, as objective as I try to be, looking at the Knicks objectively, they are projected to be an elite team in 2 years. Objectively, as a basketball fan, the same way I looked at Golden State 4 years ago and said they projected to be an elite team, you can see, with Golden State, Draymond Green was one of the best defensive talents and most efficient, tangible player in college. Now, Steph Curry was an elite scoring talent in college. Klay Thompson was a great two-way player in college. That wasn't nothing new. He didn't become a defender when he came to the league. He was a two-way player in college. But he was also a supreme scorer. He averaged over 20 in college. So none of this is new. Now, you let those 3 players grow up. If you just watch them from drafting them to the league, if you just let them grow, they're going to be good. They would at worst be a playoff team. And then the other player to that group was Harrison Barnes. He was a 7th overall pick that they also let grow up with that team. So you had Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green,
Klay Thompson. It was because it was an opportunity
to get Kevin Durant. And he won 70 games with him as the starting 3.
Yeah,
so you have Harrison Barnes, 7th overall pick. Klay Thompson, I believe, was the 9th overall pick. Draymond Green was in the first round, but he fell back because he was an undersized big. Nobody was questioning his talent as a defender.
He averaged double-doubles in college, but great rebound. They didn't think it was going to translate to the
Stephen Curry, same thing, though he was too small. That's why he dropped to 7, even though he was a top 3 projected player.
His size was small.
But now you look at Mark Jackson when he first was developing, you knew that team would grow up. The same with Bradley Beal and John Wall. You knew eventually they would grow up, and they would be relevant.
I still firmly believe that, because I think we had discussed before, I still think the Knicks are going to probably be developed faster than the Lakers still.
Oh, no, the Lakers not even close. I don't even want to, I think they compare the Lakers because the Lakers not even close. So, the Knicks have 2 players already in place that are young, ready to go. Tim Hardaway Jr. and his Cantor. They both 25. Whereas on the Lakers, those are Luol Deng and Brook Lopez. They're out of here as soon as those contracts are done. They don't have nobody filling that are young enough to match with Lonzo and Ingram and Julius Randle. They're going to have to find that. Jordan Clarkson was that player. He's 25. But they got rid of him because he had 2 years and he didn't match everything else. So the Lakers, they're far from it. But the Lakers also have never been that team. They're going to sign who they want. In 2019, they're going to sign somebody.
They're going to pick up a couple of free agents.
There's going to be that big fish. We'll go to LA to join Lonzo Ball.
It could be Paul George, Marcus Cousins, this person, that person.
I don't know who it will be in 2019.
But they're definitely picking up somebody. It's going to
be one of those players. Whether it might even be Porzingis. If it don't work out in New York in 2 years, it might be Porzingis going to LA to be that big player. I'm just keeping it real. Because New York fans is fickle. Y'all force players out. Carmelo, look at that. Y'all drug him out. Y'all put all that on his neck.
It gotta be something, because you do have fun with the accountability. When players leave, they have great seasons.
Jamal Crawford, Stephon Marbury.
When coaches leave,
Mike D'Antoni,
they still do well. So it's just like,
let's keep it 100. Jeff Van Gundy, Pat Riley. I mean, names I got to throw out that seem to have better careers when they left New York. Why? Because we don't embrace our stars. Jeremy Lin, we embraced him and then we started talking trash about him. Like, I'm gonna keep it real with the Jeremy Lin situation. Let's keep it very real with Lin. Lin had a supreme month. The game he went to Miami, and Miami exposed him because he was a young player. The very next week, Knicks fans was like, you see, we really needed Amon Shumpert to come back to play that point guard position. This guy, Jeremy Lin, he's really a bench player. He couldn't handle the real elite. He's just starting to get his legs. He went up against the best team in the league in Miami. They exposed him. Now Knicks fans all of a sudden like, oh, he wasn't that good. We knew he wasn't that good. That quickly left the love for Jeremy Lin.
You know how I see Knicks fans right now? As that ungrateful father.
They are! We are! Like Patrick Ewing's career. They were booing Patrick Ewing in the Garden.
Yo, I remember when, like,
they booed Stephon Marbury in the Garden. He's from Brooklyn.
I remember at one point, the biggest highlight that just couldn't stop and give up from Patrick Ewing was that missed layup.
Word!
I was like, wait, so y'all forget how that whole way...
You wouldn't get there if it wasn't for him.
How did he get there? How did he get to that position of getting to that point?
Yo, people
and all you worry about is the missed layup.
Patrick Ewing was one of the best.
So he had 29 points, I think, that game. Because he didn't score 31.
18, like,
because he didn't score 30? Yo, oh, he's a bum.
Yo, I used to even hear my pops walking around like, God, Patrick, what a bum. Can't make the big shot. Michael Jordan always come in New York and make him look bad. And, like, that's a Knick fan. Like, that's the Knick fan. Like, when he's playing...
I never heard someone say, damn, Olajuwon can't make the big shot.
Like, Houston wouldn't say that about him.
Shaq can't make the big dunk.
Yeah, you hear Chicago saying, like, yo, Jordan never... He missed so many big shots.
But I'm just saying, you're comparing... This is a center. That's your centerpiece of
But this is just New York. I've seen New York even boo Derek Jeter. It's like, homie brought you 5 rings, baby. I've seen them... Like, New York is such a... And it's real, a tough crowd. Because all reporters aren't reporters. They don't report the news. They criticize. We have critics. All reporters are just straight critics. They report the news with a critique in a critic's lens. Like, for instance, the trade here with the Ntilikina for Moutier trade, they automatically say the trade casts doubt on Ntilikina. They don't even say that. Why? They're not reporting that, oh, the Knicks just got Moutier and who Moutier is. They're automatically making their opinion on the trade. That's not a reporter. A reporter would say here, Knicks deal for Moutier and trade Doug McDermott in the deal. That's reporting the deal. When you say Knicks deal for Moutier casts doubt on future of Ntilikina, you're already giving me your opinion and giving me the criticism. That's not a reporter.
Now they're making the news for you.
In fact, you create a narrative. Now, if you're a coach, if that was Phil Jackson or Pat Riley making his opinion, or even when I watch the TV and it's former players making their opinion, that's a good narrative. You have more of opinion. That's more of an analyst. That's why you're an analyst. So, like, even with Shaq and, like, Kenny Smith and, like, Charles Barkley, and they say something, that's more than, I don't want to throw names, but Stephen Bondi of the Daily News and Frank Isola and Mark Berman of the New York Post. Y'all are reporters. Y'all never been GMs.
Charles Barkley sometimes.
And, yo, he never won a championship, huh? Like, everybody else in the panel won championships.
Only you and Ernie ain't got nothing, bro. Ernie got freaking TV awards.
And then, like, to the whole Mark Jackson, we didn't bring in Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson never got to the finals, B. So all these Knicks fans will say Mark is a better coach. Hornacek was in the finals, B. Like, he did that twice against Jordan. He was guarding Jordan. He was giving Jordan 20 a night. Y'all forget about that. Like, he was competing game for game and giving Jordan a shot to the face, guarding him, holding Jordan to under 40% in the finals. Like, this is Hornacek.
But they make it seem like, all right, Hornacek didn't win no chips, but it's not like they got blown out by the Bulls or something.
At all. They
were losing game sevens.
And they were leading the league in wins.
Like they were losing by final game shots.
And then even to the coaching shit, like he almost won Coach of the Year in his first year as a head coach. Like why isn't that enough for you to see?
With the Phoenix Suns.
Alright, but I'll leave that on. Same, but